This is MSNBC Live with Alex Witt, May 27th, 2018.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for that. Well, joining me now, Congressman Ted Lieu, Democrat from California, and member of both the Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committee in the House. Congressman, always good to see you, sir. I want to get right to it. Your reaction to what Senator Rubio said there. He seems to think that military conflict is not off the table.
Thank you, Alex, for your question. I previously served on active duty under the U.S. Pacific Command, and the United States has exactly zero good military options against North Korea. That's why I support diplomacy. I hope this summit still happens. I don't think the date of June 12th is a magic date, whether it's that date or sometime later. It's fine as long as the summit still goes forward.
Okay. Getting to that summit, though, sir, it might be easy to question the methods, this on-again, off-again, seesaw nature of these talks thus far. Do you have optimism that this could all work out? I know you're saying you want us to try, but the end game, you hopeful?
I'm hopeful that the summit will happen because I think both countries have an incentive to sit down and talk and at least figure out, are we on the same page? When North Korea says denuclearize, do they mean get rid of all their nuclear weapons? Because that's what the United States means. And we need to figure out if both countries are on the same page. But at least we have to start the dialogue first. Any process to have a nuclear deal will take a long time, but you have to start somewhere.
I was speaking with James Stavridis earlier, the Admiral, and he said that the caveat for him is the when, the time factor. Is that what you find to be the most stymieing of this whole thing, that may be where there's a lack of syncing up?
So phasing would be an issue. In other words, North Korea is not going to start destroying all their nuclear weapons without getting a lot of economic sanctions relief, with getting some investments. So it's going to be a timing issue in terms of, is U.S. Congress willing, for example, to loosen sanctions if North
Okay. Let's get Spygate via. Heard Rudy Giuliani essentially echoing that the president, that there was surveillance on the Trump campaign by the FBI in its most elementary form. Could you argue that yes, there was a type of surveillance on the campaign?
Yes, and I also agree with Senator Marco Rubio that there was nothing wrong with that. Why should any campaign be exempt from the FBI counterintelligence investigation? There were legitimate reasons to go and investigate certain members of the campaign who had very alarming contacts with the Russians and behaved in improper ways. Why should any presidential campaign not be subject to an FBI investigation? There's no reason for that. Okay,
what about the president's, repeated tweets? He's complaining of, look at this, the 3 angry Democrats, presumably the Mueller team, 13 rather, they're undertaking this Russia probe, those that he's talking about. Do you think that there is any partisan bent in these kinds of investigations, even a hint of that?
If there's a partisan bent, it would be Republican. The 3 leaders of the Russia probe are FBI Director Christopher Wray, who, by the way, gave over $39,000 exclusively to Republican candidates. The second leader of the probe is Rod Rosenstein, a Republican appointed by Donald Trump. Third leader is Robert Mueller, who was appointed by Rosenstein. And also, DNI Coates is also a Republican appointed by the president. So these are Republicans leading this investigation. If there's any partisan bent, it would be on behalf of the Republicans.
But isn't it also fair to say, sir, that there are anti-Trump Republicans within this group?
You're not anti-Trump just because you're following your oath of office to the United States Constitution and doing your duty to investigate the president or members of his campaign. That doesn't make you anti-Trump. It makes you just doing your job.
What about for Giuliani's part, saying that the FBI should have contacted him? They should have alerted him that Russia was trying to impact his campaign. I meant, of course, President Trump. If that had happened, would we maybe not be in the midst of this investigation right now? Had there been that kind of communication and clarity from the top?
No. In any ordinary law enforcement or counterintelligence investigation, you don't contact the subject or targets of the investigation. Another way to look at this is when Donald Trump Jr. has a meeting with foreign powers trying to get information that's damaging the Hillary Clinton campaign, It should have been Donald Trump Jr. and the Trump campaign contacting the FBI. That's what should have happened.
Okay, so you're basically saying that would have absolved all these issues had they been upfront with that kind of information from the top?
Yes, if the president was truly innocent, he wouldn't be acting this way. He wouldn't be trying to interfere with the investigation all the time. He wouldn't be making misleading statements about the investigation. He would let it run its course and see what it produces.
In your gut, sir, do you think that was a calculated move by Donald Trump Jr. and anybody else who may have been privy to that meeting? Or do you think it may have been ignorance? They were just not aware of what they should be doing?
Well, it's possible it was stupid collusion, but it doesn't mean it wasn't collusion. And just because you're not aware, it doesn't mean you can't violate federal law. So that's what the Mueller investigation is looking into. Were there violations of federal law? And we should let this investigation go to its completion.
I spoke with Tom Steyer yesterday. As you well know, he is pushing for impeachment. And earlier this week, Nancy Pelosi said unequivocally that impeachment talk by Democrats only serves to divide this country further. I'm curious your take now, given where we are in the Russia investigation.
My view is that the impeachment power, like the power to declare war, is one of the gravest responsibilities of Congress. It should never be our first option. It must always be our last option. And we just need to see what the facts are and what the Mueller investigation reveals.
I'm curious also regarding immigration, the president's policy of separating parents from children if they cross a border, a policy very clearly stated by Attorney General Jeff Sessions back on May 7th. Well, one of the president's tweets is now blaming Democrats. And I know you responded last night and you said that your administration made the policy change to separate children from their parents. If you don't have the courage to own up to it, then reverse it. Disgraceful and weak to blame others for your own evil policy. Look, I want to get past the back and forth on this issue, but do you envision any kind of compromise between parties here? And also, wasn't the separation of children from parents, wasn't that used as a deterrent in the Obama administration as well? I mean, can anyone change policy or law to stop what I'd imagine most Americans find pretty inhumane and cruel?
This is an unconscionable policy. I have 2 children. I can't imagine the government ripping them away from me and then losing track of them. That's what makes this even worse. I think there is a path to compromise. The fact that the president felt compelled to tweet about this and then blame it on someone else shows me that the president understands this is not a policy that even he can accept. So I look forward to working with the administration to go on a path forward. But it's very clear, Attorney General Jeff Sessions made this change. The reason we know about it is he did a whole big press conference announcing it a few weeks ago. I'm on the Judiciary Committee, and I hope that Jeff Sessions reverses his policy, and we should have hearings on it as soon as we come back from recess.
That press conference, as I said, May 7th. When you say you hope he reverses things, how quickly could that happen? How long would it take policy like that to turn around?
It could happen tomorrow. This was not happening under either the Bush or Obama administration. You didn't see nearly 1,500 children lost. You didn't see these mass separations of children from their parents. This is clearly something that Jeff Sessions started. He owns it. He needs to reverse it.
Representative Ted Lieu of Southern California, thank you so much. Always good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Alex.
What topics does Rudy Giuliani think Robert Mueller could raise in an interview with the president? We're going to tell you.